You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Okwemi Agbaje. In this edition, I continue my engagement on policy, on economy, on leadership, on the potentials of Nigeria with another emerging young Nigerian. Someone who studied economics, who is a chartered accountant, but who has engaged himself with providing mentorship and career advice and dealing with issues of the political economy in the social media space. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back. It's the Policy Council still, and my guest today is a young man. He's an economist, he's a chartered accountant, and he's a blogger. I found him to be one of those young men who are engaged in the social space, and I thought that he should be our guest on the Policy Council. Suraj Tunji Oyewale, you are welcome to the Policy Council.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, most of the people we see on blog sites and so on tend to be people who graduated in the humanities, political science, journalism, media. What is a chartered accountant doing on social media?
I mean, I think it has to do with the course you studied, or probably, your profession. I'm a chartered accountant, but I've always loved writing since when I was young. I mean, when I was in university, I used to write a lot. So I think it has to do with, where you graduated. You've got engineers that are blogging, you've got medical doctors blogging and all that. So I don't think it has much to do with the course you studied. Okay,
let me ask you a question. You studied economics at the University of Ife. I went to the same school some years earlier. How did you find Ife in your time? Was it, some of us like to fear some of the older people, or well, every generation tends to think things were better in its time than in succeeding generations. How did you find the University of Ife?
I think one of the best phases of my life happens to be when I was in the University of Ife. I gained a lot from there. My radical bent, if I may say that, actually got that from Ife. I must say things have degenerated a little. You were there in the 80s, I was there in 2000s, and compared to what we've read in the newspapers, by people that were there in the earlier hours, I think, things were better at that time. However, I don't think things have gone so bad. When I was there, I was able to learn a lot of things off campus. Off academic this time around, on campus journalism. I actually caught my journalism teeth. In Ife, exactly. I used to write.
Ife had a great tradition.
Exactly. Despite the fact that Ife never had a department of journalism or anything. Fine journalists like Dele Momodu, Sam Omoseye, all of them actually went to Ife. It shows that in Ife campus, it's actually a tradition. It's a tradition of, trying to always express your opinion in forms of writing and all that. So, Ife is still a very good school. I must say that, and I don't think
one of the things I hear these days that I wonder, I noticed that what we used to call students' union when we were in university, sometime later became students' union government, and I wondered why did we have to call it government?
I think I share the same opinion with you. We don't have to call it government because you are not ruling people, you are just representatives of people.
Because for me it's a symbol of something. The fact that we feel we have to call it government.
No. You don't have to call it government. In Ife, we don't call it ourselves government anyway.
Okay, so Ife
is students union. Exactly.
Thank God. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, and then we were talking off camera, and I heard about an infamous article you wrote while you were a youth corper in Sokoto State. Tell us about that.
Like I told you, I finished from Ife, so I was used to writing, expressing my opinions. My first article was published in Punch newspaper in May 2003, during the ASUU strike of 2003. So I'd become so used to expressing my opinions in newspapers and all that. So when I got to Sokoto State in 2007 for my NYSC, there were some issues around our state allowances, corporate allowances and all that. So I expressed my opinion in the newspaper. The article wasn't so nice to the governor, Governor Wamaku. He was just coming in then. And that was the height of the political tug of war between Alhaji Bafarawa and Wamaku. So they thought I was being sponsored by Bafarawa, and they called me. It was published in Sun newspaper, I think, of August 19 or thereabout in 2007. So I was called by the state government. They interviewed me. the NYSC queried me, why did you do this? And I told them I'd actually been used to express my opinions. I mean, I never knew the environment was so conservative over there. I mean, I'd been used to writing articles in the South. I mean, nobody cares about what you wrote. Maximum, somebody comes with a rejoinder. But, I mean, they just blew the whole thing out of proportion, and I was punished. I was actually posted to a place. For writing an article that was offensive to the state government, I was posted to, I mean, somewhere in the Republic border, where I couldn't have access to newspapers or internet or something. That was punishment they meted at me. But it's just, I mean, I'm not sure that's the best way to approach such.
Well, it was probably your induction into the real world of Nigeria after the idealism of the university.
Exactly.
Okay, let's take a short time out. I'm talking to Suraj Tunji Oyewale, a youth activist, I would say, an economist, a chartered accountant who works in the oil sector. We'll be right back.
Who knows Abi better thing? Abi who know like better thing? All these fine things where they see so. Now money government they take do now. Abi, I think it's like, you know, I mean, excuse me, I dey pay my tax. I dey do it thing, I dey pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. If you pay your tax, I pay oh.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, and I'm talking to Suraj Tunji Oyewale. Suraj, you have this blog. It's called Jarushab. I know because you featured me on that blog. Why did you establish the blog?
I mean, I actually established the blog, I mean, in March this year out of my experience. I mean, I got to know that a lot of Nigerians, they don't have access to the right information about their career. I mean, there are a lot of brilliant Nigerians out there, young Nigerians that are very brilliant, but because they don't have access to the right information, they are not able to achieve their potential. So the focus of the blog is to ensure that, I mean, you're able to pass the right information to people. So we feature people that have excelled in their careers, people like you, people like, I mean, we featured Mr. Segun Adeniyi of this day. I mean, we featured Professor Pius Adesami, Professor Farouk Ferogi, I mean, Mr. Ani Yusuf, MD of Accenture, I mean, Akim Uyolo of Stanbic IT, BTC, a couple of guys like that. We actually feature them so that people can actually benefit from it. It's actually about career development. And
careers, mentorship. And, but you also said political economy.
Well, I mean, I deal less, I mean, on political economy. I do more on career and mentorship. Because I know myself that, I mean, I'm quite politically savvy. I mean, it's not possible for me to just leave out politics. That's why sometimes we dwell on politics as a political economy.
What was your view about Nigeria's democracy?
I mean, we got the new dispensation started in 1999, and I think we're actually moving. I mean, you may not see the pace may be slow, but I think we're actually moving. Nigeria's democracy is actually, I mean, is moving. I mean, we are not there yet, but I think we are progressing. It doesn't. America did not become what they are today in 50 years, in 70 years. So I believe we're actually moving. I mean, look at things like freedom of speech. I can go to my blog and write anything. Anybody can write anything. Since we're not like that during the military.
What was your attitude or your posture towards probably the zenith of activism in our current dispensation, the Occupy Nigeria process?
During the Occupy Nigeria, I mean, saga of the early 2012, I didn't take part in the street protest, I must say that. But right from my room, I was quite active on social media, sending out articles to newspapers, I mean, trying to express my opinion, agitating for our interests and all that. I think we're able to produce results eventually. It might not be 100%, but we're able to be at least.
It was impactful.
Yeah, of course, it was. I mean, it was impactful.
Let me ask you, you've worked, I know you've worked on the finance side and the taxation side of the oil sector. And you've done that in very credible organizations. What's your view of the oil sector?
I mean, there are some issues we need. First and foremost, let's talk about the PIB, the petroleum industry, because that is a topical issue in the industry now. Obviously, the non-passage of the bill has actually meant that investments have to be suspended and all that for now. I mean, when last did you hear about PIB unfortunately, all our governments are preoccupied with 2015, and nobody's talking about it now. And it's actually not, I mean, it won't all go well for our economy. But the PIB document,
the impact in terms of, like you said, declining investment, or the oil majors selling out.
Exactly. I mean, the shares,
oil production.
Chevron of this world, I mean, selling of their assets and all that. Although, I mean, the local indigenous participants are actually taking up that asset. And it's, I mean, if you look at this from that angle, you may see it as a positive as well. But PIB General, I've looked at the document. I mean, I've actually did the review of it on my blog, and I think it's a positive, I mean, development for Nigeria if actually passed. Although there's some gray areas there, like the areas of gas flaring that was not properly addressed. A lot of people believe that the sanction date is just a slap in the wrist. I mean, it depends on, I mean, who you are talking to. Then there are some other issues there, like the issue of I'm a tax accountant, so I actually try to look at it from a fiscal perspective as well. I mean, the tax regime is going to, I mean, it's going to repeal the PPT, and there's going to be a new tax called the Nigeria Hydrocarbon Tax. Overall, I think I mean, PIB is a good development for Nigeria.
I was concerned though about the powers of the minister in that law. They seemed designed to make the minister
so powerful. I mean,
or maybe the queen of the oil sector.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have to agree with you on that extent, and I hope they are going to think out with the bill more before the final.
Because what we need, I don't know what you think. I think what we need are autonomous institutions.
The kind of that are going to run it. I think I agree with you on that aspect. That I mean, the powers confined of the minister in the current form of the bill is not. I mean, it's probably too powerful. I mean, I think I expect them to do some adjustment to that before the final passage of the bill. Excellent.
Let's take another time out. I'm talking to Suraj Tunji Oyewale. He's an oil industry, he's employed in the oil industry. He's a finance and taxation expert, an economist, and a chartered accountant. We'll be right back.
My name is Laide Awoyemi. I live for Lagos. You see as our new Lagos just defined the go. Good thing, good though. To go market now, no hard at all. Just pay. Sit down inside BRT bus. Small time, you don't reach where they go. Hospital call, the full ground. And for me and my pikin where I just born, treatment now free. You look left, you look right. Them they build new roads, new hospitals, new schools, new things everywhere. Everywhere they shine, gone. We thank God though. But come on, I hear saying that this tax money will they pay. And then they used to do all these good things. Yeah, they pay my own tax too. Say they pay your own.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council. Suraj, let me go back to Occupy Nigeria. Okay. Not Occupy Nigeria in particular, but the arguments underpinning Occupy Nigeria, which was government's attempt to remove the oil subsidy, deregulate the downstream petroleum sector, and as it were, try and create a fully liberalized downstream sector dependent on demand and supply and trading.
Yep.
What's your view on that argument?
I mean, ordinarily, there's nothing wrong in having a deregulated, sector. Oil sector. There's nothing wrong in that, because if market forces dictate things, I think it's good for everybody, and the prices are going to come down theoretically. And but the issue now is some structural imbalances. Things the government need to put in place before market forces are able to work. They're not on grant. For example, as it were now, people will not be able to. A lot of people are not, able to invest in the sector because of, a lot of bureaucracy they have to pass through and all that. Some companies have refinery license, but they've not been able to build refineries just because it's not economically, viable to them.
But let me argue the government's case.
Okay.
And suggest to you, what do you think? Those people who have refinery licenses and haven't built, is it not precisely because of the fact that you have a subsidy in the sector?
Exactly.
For instance, those type of people, they won't be able to get financing if they come to a bank and say, I want to build a refinery. And then the bank will be worried about the fact that but you cannot price your products appropriately.
Exactly, at market, exactly. That's the argument. That's what I'm saying. Ordinarily, the regulation, the regulation is not, is very fine. It's fine. If the government doesn't place a seal on the price of which the marketers can sell their product, then, the regulation is very fine. I don't have any problem with it. But the argument of the people against,
in terms of social
factors,
transportation,
we are all producing the economy. We should have something from the sector. We should have something from the sector. The government should be able to. Their fear actually is that the prices are going to go up. Obviously, it's going to happen in the short term. But when competition sets in, I'm very sure it's going to. The prices, everything is going to be. It's going to reach equilibrium, and the prices are actually going to come down. But probably because Nigerians, because of our experience in the past,
with
and
government, no trust.
So that's why people actually, not supportive of the.
Let's discuss one or two other issues in the oil sector. For instance, we now have this phenomenon of oil thefts. We have global oil prices looking more uncertain. Yeah. What do you think about those issues? Is Nigeria vulnerable, in your view, to developments in the oil sector, both locally and internationally?
Of course, the mainstay of our economy, is still the oil sector. That was the government. That's the biggest spinner, forex spinner for Nigeria. So obviously, we are. What happens is dependent on what happens at the global market, global oil market. So that said, there is the issue of oil theft, because everything still boils down to laxity in government. Because you hardly hear of oil theft in other economies. In other economies, it's something that is quite common here.
It looks to me like a government-sanctioned.
Some people believe
transfer of resources.
Honestly, you have to agree with those people that say that, because if people can steal oil and the government are helpless about it, then there is problem. There is problem. So I believe government, it still boils down to government sincerity. If the government are able to block all the loopholes, all the avenues for all these, then I believe things are going to be better for us.
Let me ask you my final question in this segment.
Okay.
Who are your role models? Who are your mentors? Who are the people you look up to as a young Nigerian in the Nigerian economy?
Let me start from when I was young. I grew up in Kwara State, or precisely. That was where I spent the first 8 years of my life. There was one man, Dr. Femi Adekaye. I don't know whether you know him.
The banker.
Yeah, the banker.
Commerce Bank.
Commerce, exactly. Field Bank. I wanted to become a banker because of we share the same neighborhood in Kwara State. We are from the same, almost same compound. So when I was going, I used to see him, and I looked up to him as a banker. But along the line, I changed my career path. I never wanted to become a banker again, and so today now, I think the people I look up for, of course, one of them is Mr. Wale Tinubu, the MP for Orlando. One thing you have to give to him is that it's very hard for somebody to be a top player in Nigeria's oil sector like that. And at least overtly, you don't see him in political gatherings. He minds his business. He's quite humble. He does his business decently. I worked with him for 4 years, in his company for 4 years, and I actually monitored it from close. And I think he's one very, very brilliant corporate player. So Mr. Wale Tinubu is one of them. They have got my brother Kimoyo of Stanbic IBTC. It's another one, person I look forward to. They talk of Mr. Fola Adiola, MD of GTB. He worked in GTB for so many years, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. He was in his 30s, 32 or 33 when he set up GTB alongside Tayo Adekunle in 1989 or thereabouts. For somebody to have that vision, he was at the top level of corporate Nigeria for more than 20 years. And there was no blemish. So these are people we look forward to. You can talk about Atedo Peter side too. You have to respect Atedo Peter side as well. Although in recent times, a lot of his political comments are not going down well with some people, but you can't take away his brilliance, his efforts. I wrote an article in my blog where I labeled him the father of investment banking in Nigeria. The Subodun Balogun of this world may be the grandmaster, but I think Atedo Peter side redefined it. So it's another person I look forward to.
Okay, interesting. Very good list, I must admit. Let's take a time out. I'll be back with Surajo Yewale.
My name is Femi Durojai. Welcome to the New Lagos, where things are improving every day. I work on the island and live on the mainland. But that's no longer a problem. With improved roads, I get to work faster. Sometimes I even leave my car and use the BRT bus, which is comfortable, fast, efficient, and reliable. After a hard day's work, the nights and evenings are even more fun. the streets are better lit, and the city is more secure. So I can catch my phone in peace. I pay my taxes because I want to continue enjoying the good things a big modern city like our Lagos brings. So it's my taxes that makes them real. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back. It's still the Policy Council, my final segment with Suraj Oyewale. Let me ask you, I like the list of mentors you chose, and what I find common to them is that they're in business, and there's some integrity and corporate governance around the names you mentioned. So what's your vision for Nigeria? What type of Nigeria would you like to see?
I mean, the reason why I chose these guys as my mentors, I mean, as people I look forward to, is because of that integrity. In Nigeria today, a lot of people, I mean, have actually lost that integrity. I mean, I may be wrong, but when I see somebody today, the first thing I assume is that he doesn't have integrity until he proves otherwise. That's how prevalent it is in Nigeria. So that's the culture we're trying to build in Nigeria, a culture of integrity, a culture based on honesty, hard work, and I believe we can do it. I mean, that's my vision for Nigeria, to ensure that, I mean, we youth of today, I mean, our actions are based on integrity, honesty, and all that. So it's something actually, I mean,
I like that. Now, what's your assessment of, because you tied into the next question I was going to ask. How will we get that? What will youths, young people like you, how will we build that Nigeria of integrity?
Yeah, I mean, that Nigeria of my dream, I think it's all boils down to attitude. Because a lot of people who are saying government are doing this, they are corrupt, and but what are we doing in our daily lives as well are not any better either. I mean, because when you meet the common man on the streets, he's not any better than the government, is corrupt and all that. So I think it boils down to attitude. Advanced countries like America, I mean, and other countries, an indigene, I mean, a citizen, he sees himself as an American, very proud of it, and works for national interest, irrespective of, I mean, where he is. That's it. So I want to see Nigeria of that vision, of that model too, that model for Nigeria too. Now, I mean, how do we achieve it? I think we have orientation. Orientation is very, very key. I mean, we need to orientate ourselves. Some of us, within our confines, we've been trying to, explain to people through our media, trying to write articles and all that. I think it boils down to orientation. We need to change our orientation to, about the country.
Okay. Are you inside you? Are you positive?
I'm very, very positive.
Where does that positivism come from? Do you believe we can do it, or do you doubt?
I believe we can do it.
Where does that come from?
I mean, I've seen some Nigerians. I've met some Nigerians that are hardworking. I mean, they're making waves internationally. Look at Chimamanda Adichie. I mean, a lot of them like that. Look at Tolu Ogunlesi. I mean, a lot of them like that. They are doing fine. I mean, if they could do it, I believe every other person can do it. So when I see this